them. Here at Beyond Verses, we will do a deep dive into an interesting book. Whether you're Christian, belong to another faith, or have no religion at all, you're welcome here. Because discovering timeless life lessons hits it in one of history's most influential books, the Holy Bible.
Today, we're unpacking the story of an ancient builder named Nehemiah. But look, we're not just dusting off some old history lesson here. We're going to be diving into some seriously profound everyday life lessons about distraction, discernment, and ultimately our identity. So let's jump right in. Okay, let's start with a really counterintuitive premise. You see, everyone reads Nehemiah chapter 6 as this straightforward story about distraction, right? But very few people actually catch what the enemy was really trying to do. They weren't attacking the wall anymore. They were trying to move the man. It reveals this kind of chilling truth. The actual goal of distraction isn't always destruction. A lot of times, it's just displacement. Chapter 1, The Subtle Trap. So, setting the stage in ancient Jerusalem, Nehemiah's massive wall was almost completely finished. I mean, he was right on the verge of completing his assignment. And notice how his enemies shift their tactics in response to this. Initially, they tried these really aggressive attacks on the wall, mockery, intimidation, blatant threats of war. But when literally none of that worked, they pivoted to a completely new strategy. They sent a deceptively peaceful invitation directly to the builder himself. They basically said, hey, come, let's meet together in one of the villages on the plain of Ono. Now, on the surface, that invitation to the plain of Ono sounded perfectly reasonable, maybe even productive. But Nehemiah recognized a crucial detail. He noted, they were scheming to harm me. It was this carefully constructed trap designed to isolate him. You see, they didn't ask him to abandon the work forever, just to, step away for a quick minute. But going to Ono meant walking away from Jerusalem, away from his protectors, and most importantly, away from his assignment. Because distraction rarely pulls you away all at once. No, it first separates you from exactly where God has called you to stand. Chapter 2, Seeing Beyond Appearances. If we pivot from the historical account to our own practical application, we really see how Nehemiah handled this incredibly attractive packaging. The absolute crucial point here is that discernment goes way beyond simply knowing right from wrong. It's really about seeing the hidden intentions behind what looks like an ordinary, harmless opportunity. I mean, the invitation Nehemiah received wasn't inherently sinful. It just looked like a meeting. But listen, not everything that looks like an opportunity is an assignment, and not every open door was opened by God. And because he possessed this deep sense of discernment, Nehemiah shot back with what is honestly one of the greatest declarations of focus you'll find in the source material. He sent a message back, completely refusing to abandon his post. He stated simply and firmly, I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. This brilliantly illustrates the enemy's persistence, too. They actually sent this exact same peaceful invitation 4 separate times. 4. They were trying to wear him down. But because Nehemiah saw right through the trap, his powerful no remained exactly the same all 4 times. Chapter 3. Knowing your identity. Well, when those peaceful invitations totally failed, the enemy switched up their playbook entirely. They resorted to fear, false reports, and even a hired prophet just to try and make Nehemiah panic and hide inside the temple. But instead of caving to all that pressure, listen to how he responded. Should a man like me run away? Now, this incredible response wasn't rooted in pride or arrogance, not at all. It was grounded in a deep, unwavering knowledge of his identity and exactly who had called him to do this work. He knew exactly what had been entrusted to him. The thing is, when you don't know your identity, you are inherently unstable. You end up changing with every opinion, every pressure, and every threat, mostly because you're living for other people's approval. But when you know who you are in God, you don't panic. Your convictions become steady, your purpose becomes undeniably clear, and suddenly your no becomes just as powerful as your yes. Chapter 4, God Finishes the Work. As we hit the climax of our explainer, we get to witness this ultimate victory, and really, God's undeniable nature of helping man finish what he started. 52, get this, the entire massive wall around Jerusalem was miraculously completed in just 52 days. That was a literally impossible timeline that forced this huge dramatic reaction from all the surrounding nations. And you know what's amazing? The most powerful testimony here didn't even come from Israel. It came from the very enemies who mocked the vision in the first place. The people who opposed the work were terrified now. They lost all their self-confidence and were essentially forced to admit that God was behind this. Because when God builds something, he does it in a way where absolutely no human explanation is enough. The beautiful takeaway the text offers us right here is that people are always watching your life, far more than you probably realize. The narrative strongly suggests that when you refuse to compromise and you push through to finish what you started, your faithfulness gives others the hope to keep going. Think about it. Your obedience might just be the exact encouragement someone else desperately needs to trust God and not quit.
Chapter 5, Your Plane of Ono. So let's slow down for a second and turn the focus directly onto you. What is your plane of Ono? Look at some of these modern examples. Could it be a relationship, a shiny new business opportunity, maybe the lure of comfort or people-pleasing, or honestly, maybe it's just endless scrolling on your phone? The source material challenges us to realize that our plane of Ono is that thing that isn't necessarily evil, but it's slowly, quietly pulling us away from our specific assignment. Because the truth is, not every open door is opened by God, and not every invitation deserves your yes. Staying exactly where you are planted is absolutely essential. Sometimes, honestly, the absolute most spiritual word you need to use this week isn't amen, it's no. I want to leave you with this challenging thought, to really urge you to walk in discernment and stand completely firm in your identity. Finish the work you've been given to do. And make sure to ask yourself this profound question whenever distraction comes calling. Am I doing a work so important that I cannot come down?